So I hope you guys had a great July 4th weekend. It was great weather until it started pouring. But for me, I was determined this year that I was going to grill. And I would not be deterred. I would not be stopped. You know, even though it started pouring on Friday, I told my wife, I am a man's man. And I am very tenacious about my meat. Now, if my wife said, grill some vegetables, I'd be like, look, it's a sign from God not to do that. You know, it was raining, but it didn't matter if it was raining or there was a storm. I was going to go out there on the deck, and I was going to make the best burgers in history. So I got my wife to carry an umbrella. That's what wives are for. I'm kidding. And so you're supposed to help one another. Stop thinking things. Yeah. So we went out there. She was holding an umbrella. We're trying to get the grill on, but the wind kept crushing my dreams, and more importantly, the fire. So that day, the rain won. But I woke up the next morning and I said, good morning, Lord. Good morning, world. God, how can I turn on this grill today? I went out there and I would not be deterred again. I was like, maybe yesterday was a fluke. Yesterday was the rain. Today is the day. I even had a plan. I was like, maybe it was the propane. So my wife went to get the propane on her shopping errand. And I helped carry the propane into the car. So we got the propane, and it wasn't raining anymore, and I turned on the gas, turned the grill onto, mild high, and the igniter wasn't working, so I decided to get my lighter and light the grill myself. Right then, my hair went on fire. Right here, if you see it from here, it's not highlights. Trust me, I'm too old for that. My hair caught on fire. Now, I'm not sure if you know this, but gel is very flammable. They should have a hazard warning in the gel that says, do not wear too much. I mean, Sungyu and Andy, just be careful when you grill. Because I know you wear a lot of gel like me. And, so my hair caught on fire, and I was freaked out. I mean, it was a sign, like, maybe I shouldn't be grilling. And so obviously the grill turned on, and then 5 minutes later, after at a great cost of my beautiful hair, the grill died. Yeah, it died on me. Yeah, this is a great picture of what life is like, isn't it? You have these hopes. You put your hope in things. And you hope for the best, but things continue to not go our way. The Bible says that a deferred hope deferred makes the heart what? Sick. For many of us, we go through life, when you're really young, you have high hopes. And then you learn little by little as you get older to prepare for what? The worst. Because things happen. Things get messed up. And so we're caught in this conflict of wanting to have hope, but stuck. Hope feels great because you need it to live, but hope is also frightening because you don't want to be disappointed. A lot of people here need to know this. This is where the gospel, this is where Christianity comes and answers that place in our world. A lot of people think Christianity is propositions to be memorized and dogma to be lived. Rules to follow. When Ezekiel 36, do we have that? Thank you. On point. Something's working this weekend. Ezekiel 36, verse 26 says, this is what Christianity is I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. And I want everyone to read it with me. It says what? I will what? Remove from you a heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. Here is where Christianity is not delusional about the state of reality of our lives and most of our lives. You see, it's not about memorizing things and more information and cramming propositions and dogma. It is a renewal of hope, a transformation of desire. That's what the Bible is saying. It's about that heart that wants to believe but is afraid to believe, that has desire but is conflicted. And God answers that place. It meets us right between it hits us right between the eyes, right where we need it the most, because a lot of us are heart sick. We put our hope in things that don't end up working out. So, the question I want to answer today, looking at the gospel from this angle, is this. How do you hold on to hope? Transitory hope. Hope that fades away a lot of times in our lives. When we feel like things, many different things, feel hopeless. That's why I want to go back to this passage that we were on last week, because I felt like we hit a nerve in many of our souls. And I want to read it again and go into the text and answer that question. How do you hold on to hope when things feel hopeless? Not the world, not everything around me, but things we put our hope in when things feel hopeless. Relationships feel hopeless. You fill in the blank. And I pray the Spirit would bring up those things. And this is what happens in this text. As Jesus and his disciples were leaving Jericho, a large crowd followed him. And you need to catch this, right? 2 blind men were sitting by the roadside. And we talked about the active sitting. They were stuck in life because of their physical limitations. And when they heard that Jesus was what? Going by, they shouted, Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us. Of course, verse 31, the crowd rebuked them and told them to be quiet, but they shouted all the louder, Lord, Son of David, have mercy on us. Let me ask you a question from this narrative and this story. What makes 2 blind people that would blind from birth have any hope of why do they have the hope to want to see? If you were born this way, meaning you never saw before, why do you even have that desire? Catch that. Right? The crowd was saying, your condition, your predicament, your situation is the way it is. Why do you want more? Ask someone next to you, do you want more? And you're like, well, that depends on the question. Do I want more food? Of course. Do I want more disappointment? No. Why are 2 blind people that never had this more want more than what they have? What is it about the human condition that makes us want more than what we have or had? We want more than that. It's desire. I mean, don't you think that there were men begging on the roadside? They were what? Flatline on the roadside. They were stuck there, begging. But what makes them have hope when they heard Jesus? The stories of Jesus healing the blind, it gave them hope. They tried to even kill their desire, but they couldn't. Why? How come? Because listen to this. Hope is eternal. Hope is there. You could try to drown it out. You can try to kill it. You could try to numb it. You could be angry at it, but it's always there. How many people here right now can do the best sigh? I'm not talking about the Korean singer. I'm talking about the actual word sigh. Okay? So not like Gangnam Style. I'm talking about just a sigh. Everyone do a sigh with me. Oh. Doesn't that feel good? It feels good, right? Whatever you're going through this weekend, see? Feel better? A sigh is a physical indication that you are not okay with being miserable. You know anyone that says, I'm happy with being miserable? Right? I'm happy about it. No one says that. No one tells you and comes and goes, I'm happy. I'm really happy about being abused. I'm really happy about it. I mean, if you were born in different places in the world, when you're born into captivity, born into slavery, born into prostitution, born into that, why do you want to be free from it? This is all you know. What is it about the human desire that wants more? Why can't the human heart just kill that desire for transcendence or more? Why is that desire there? It's an eternal desire. This is what James Houston says, the president of Regent College in Vancouver. Can you put that up? James Houston wrote, despair, and read it with me, despair is what? Is the fate of the desiring soul. Meaning, every human being is in despair because of desire. If you want something, you will be in despair because you won't get it. Like my son is in despair every 5 minutes. You need to go to sleep now. Oh! Wailing and gnashing of teeth. It's 10:30, but it's the summer. I should be able to watch. Are you going to have a midnight snack or not? I'm like, shut up, you need to go to bed. It's despair. If you have desire, you're in despair. I mean, you can have a surgeon operating out of efficiency. And then I know so many doctors that love and hate their job at the same time. But then they go in the car, just like the phone salesman, just like the janitor. For some odd reason, they all go in their cars or in their showers, and they start singing opera. I mean, you've heard these stories before. I mean, their heart is dead in their jobs, and you're doing something important. You're doing something, not very important, but there's some longing in the heart when they listen to the classical music and they sing the beautiful pieces of opera, and they're just, singing in their car and their showers, and everybody's closing their ears, poor families. And there's something about it at that moment that says, I want more to this life than this. We try to kill desire, but we can't. It comes out in these places. This is what C.S. Lewis says. I like what he says here. C.S. Lewis says, I'm almost committing an indecency. I'm trying to rip open the inconsolable secret, each one of you. The secret would hurt so much that you take revenge by it, calling it names like what? Nostalgia, romanticism, and adolescence. So we start naming what's naive, the dreams, the sentimental. And we start compartmentalizing romance. Those are youthful things, and we try to put them away in different places of our lives. No matter how much you try to kill desire, you can't. It's still there. Just like these men, they were blind from birth, blind in their adult years. And they still want to see. So when you feel you want to hold on to hope and you feel like things are hopeless, the first lesson is what? Read that with me. Fully what? Embrace the conflict. Fully recognize this. The conflict is desire is eternal. It's from God. Solomon says in the book, in the Bible, very clearly that eternity is what? Set in our hearts. You can't kill the desire, no matter how hard you try. You can numb it, but you can't kill it. You like my hashtag right there? It never dies. So the question I have for you is this. At this instant, how do you identify with the blind man? You are stuck in places in your life, and I'm stuck in some places in my life. I don't know what they are, but you do. You feel stuck there. But there is this desire to try to numb it, to try to kill it, inoculate it, but it's still there. What are you trying to kill? And why? I pray the Spirit will do some surgery. The Spirit of God will come and convict you and show you those areas right now. But it goes deeper than that. Let's go down. It goes into an incredible part of the human soul that cannot be tamed. And then it says the crowd rebuked them and told them to be quiet, right? But they shouted louder. Jesus stopped, and this is really, really profound for me when I was studying and praying. It says Jesus stopped and called them. He says, "What do you want me to do for you?" he asked. Does Jesus need to ask? Isn't it obvious? Was Jesus taunting? No. Jesus was appealing. When anyone asks you a question, and it says, he doesn't say, "What would you have me do?" Jesus says, What? Read it with me. What do you what? Want. Say that with me again. What do you want? Ask someone next to you, what do you want? And the truth is, you have no idea. You go, what do you want? I want this. No, you get this, and you don't want this anymore. You don't want that anymore. Right? After service is over, what do you want to eat? You have no idea. It's going to create a world crisis right here in Union Square. FEMA's going to have to show up. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? Right? What do you want? It's an appeal. Jesus is appealing to the desire and recognizing that eternal desire within those men who were blind from birth. Why do they want to see when they never were able to see? Was their vision the end of their desire? Of course not. Why? It was just a means to an end, not the end itself. Why? Because when they can see, they can live life. They can experience relationships. They can see beauty. It wasn't the fact that they just wanted to see for the sake of seeing. They wanted not to just, breathe. They wanted to really live. They wanted more. And they knew one thing. They did not want to be stuck on the roadside in their life. You know, I was in Paris last year, and my mentor and I, Martin Sanders, worked on a project together, and we wrote some things, and some, no boastful thing, but some major leaders liked it. And they asked, Alpha France asked us to translate it, if we could get it translated in French so they could, send it and use it to train leaders in Paris, in France. I said, of course. We will try to help you with that. So I asked a friend that served as a missionary in Paris for someone that spoke English and understood our idioms and etymology well, and someone that could really do well, like a college student, university student, maybe in Paris. And so he got me a meeting when I was there with this young man in college, and we were talking together, and I asked him, on one of the most beautiful parks in Paris, I said, so what are you doing now? And so you got to imagine this. It was like this beautiful park, beautiful museum in the front, people dressed immaculately, just a beautiful picture of what you ever imagined Paris to be. And I go, what are you doing now? He goes, well, he stooped down and sat down in the stairs and said, well, right now I'm working in McDonald's. It was like, and me, I'm like, I was thinking, well, cool, can you give me a discount? But it's like, it's more like at that moment he stooped down. He's a part-time university student, and he said, I'm working at McDonald's, but it's only temporary. But if you saw his face, you would see shame written all over his body. That's not something he wanted to admit, right? Because this is an interview for a job, and it's not very impressive when you say, well, I'm working at McDonald's temporarily right now. Because you know what that means? I'm working there for a long time. And shame was there. Sometimes a lot of people don't know what they want in life yet, but they do know what they don't want to be, what they don't desire. And they don't want to be stuck somewhere that has no meaning or purpose. It's a shameful thing. What do they want? They want something much more than that. You see, folks, a lot of people misunderstand Christianity. A lot of us misunderstand the gospel and Jesus. It's not a set of propositions. It's not a set of rules. It's not just dogma. Revelations 21 talks about the renewal of all things. It's the renewal of hope. It's a new heart. It's to be able to feel that baby skin butt heart. You know, when I feel Josh's butt, it's like, whoo, it's smooth. But a lot of us can't dream again like that or feel joy like that again because it's been worn out so bad in life. And it's so hard for us to trust and so hard for us to put ourselves out there because we've been so burned. The gospel is about the renewal of hope, the transformation of desire. And that's why Jesus came. Jesus says, I have come to give you life to the full. John 10:10. I have come to give you to you so that you can be renewed and transformed so you can really live. Because what the guy in Paris, that student in Paris on this sitting, stooping down is saying, and what this blind man is saying, and when God is asking us the same question, what do you want me to do for you? What we're really saying is not, I want to be rich. No one wants to be rich for the sake of being rich. How many people just want to be rich for the sake of being rich? Don't be dumb. Don't raise your hand. Some college students like me, because you're dumb, that's why. People want money for the mobility. So you can take, why is it so cool when you watch the movies, the billionaires riding the jet, you're like, oh my gosh, wow, they're drinking champagne in the plane. Oh, so cool, I want that. No, you want the mobility. You want to be able to do whatever, whenever, what your heart desires. That's why you want to be wealthy. Also important. That's why you want money. It's not an end, it's a means. You want to be fully alive. You want to be able to enjoy your life. What if the gospel is not against? I'm not saying the gospel is for you buying jet planes. I'm not saying the gospel wants to make you rich. What I'm saying is that the gospel is not against our desire of our heart. It's that eternal desire that God put in us. It actually meets us right there. So if God says, what do you want me to do for you? What we're saying is, I want to be fully alive. I want to be great. I want to do more with my life. I want my life to have meaning and purpose. I want it to count for something transcendent. That's what we're saying. So, how do you hold on to hope? Transitory hope sometimes. When things just seem hopeless. Well, second lesson we learn from the blind man is what? Read it with me. Discover that, what? The glory of God is men fully alive. The glory of God is men fully alive. An early theologian said that. He said the glory of God is men fully alive, meaning God is for us being liberated to become the best of who we're meant to be, the glory of God. God is committed to that pursuit of joy in our lives. So let me just ask you a question today as we close. Are you fully alive? Or are you stuck? Because the gospel's commitment, it's to take that heart of stone, the cynicism, and the pragmatism, and the parts of the poisonous part of our lives that even if we want to hope, we have a hard time hoping. The gospel is saying Jesus comes and what? He sets us free, heals the heart, and lets us hope again. The glory of God is when men, let's not be sexist, men and women come fully alive. That's the question God is asking us on the roadside. Whatever place you're stuck in your life today, in relationships, in your job, whatever it might be, Jesus is asking us the question, what do you want me to do for you? He's appealing to our desire. Stand and pray with me. If you lose your heart, right? When Solomon says, above all else, guard your heart, for it's the wellspring. It's the epicenter of all life. It's the source of all life. When you lose your heart, and for many of us we have somewhere along the way, when anyone tells you to dream, there's an immunity to it that says, yeah, right. You become more cynical. That resistance is the voice of the crowd, the voice of the enemy, and your own trauma, the traumas of our lives. There's an internal voice that will say, yeah, right. Cynicism, a defense mechanism that goes up. But you're going to have to listen to the voice of God today. When you look up to Jesus, Jesus will not tell you what you need to do and how to do it to solve all the problems in your life. Jesus will come and stop you and say, what do you want me to do for you? He'll appeal to your desire. As you come today before God, don't do this cookie cutter prayer. Search deep within inside of the conflict of the desire you have. And say to God, I want to be fully alive. What is it? What's a vision, God, of me and my life being what you meant my life to mean and to be and to count? What is that? The fullness of that look like? That's what I want to be. So Jesus is right now saying, what do you want me to do for you? And this is why for the Christian, this is good news, because who does not want to live fully? When disappointment and letdowns have made our hearts hard again and calloused. Who doesn't want a new heart, a heart of flesh rather than stone, to experience love and life and dreams again. And for the non-Christian, for the agnostic and the atheist, you come to God today and you go, so there's actual meaning? There's design, there's purpose. I want to see that. I want to believe that. It brings hope. It's not just propositions. It's not a placebo. The gospel, Ezekiel says, Christianity at the core is a renewal of hope. A transformation of desire. So today, God, we come before you. Will you just say to him right now, God, I want to be fully alive. I have a maker. He formed my heart. Let's make that our prayer today. And let's go to God right now with our heart and give it to him. Formed my heart.
He formed my heart.
He knows us.
Before even time began, my life was in his hand. He knows my name. He knows my every thought. He sees each tear that falls and hears me when I call.
Let's call out to him right now as our prayer. I have a Father.
I have a Father.
He calls me his own.
He calls me his own.
He'll never leave me.
He'll never leave me, no matter where I go. He knows my name.
He knows my every thought.
He knows my every thought. He sees each tear that falls and hears me when I call.
So, Father, we come before you for the Christian, for believers that are stuck in a place, a very dark place of hopelessness in things. God, we look to you because our heart's sick because of deferred hope. We look to you and we pray for the promise of Ezekiel that you would renew and transform our heart so we could believe. For the seeker and the agnostic and unbeliever, I pray that the longing for transcendence and beauty would be met by the reflection and the beauty of God. The eternal hope is really God in disguise, as many theologians have said for centuries. I pray today, God, both of that desire in all of us to be fully alive, longing for hope and longing for transcendence, would be fulfilled in Jesus. For Jesus is commitment, is that both men and women, the glory of God would be men and women fully alive. That is God's vision for us. This is our hope. This is the reason for our hope. Put your faith in Him today. He's writing a story wherever your story might be today. Wherever you might have a detour here and there and some conflict, but God is the author and the finisher of our faith. And He is weaving together a story greater than you can imagine. Now, cynicism would say, yeah, right. But it's true. The goal of the gospel is the renewal of all things that are broken. And our world is broken. And the commitment of the gospel is to start that renewal with us. And I pray today you receive it. And for some of us, we start it. Will you bow your heads for the benediction? May the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. And all God's people say, amen. God bless you. We'll see you soon.